Hi, I'm CJ Green. Let's get to it. A New York jury unanimously found Donald Trump guilty on all 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. A stunning conclusion to the historic trial of a former president. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg had brought the charges against Trump stemming from his $130,000 payment during the 2016 presidential campaign to adult film actress Stormy Daniels. Daniels testified that the payment was intended to buy her silence, and prosecutors argued that Trump sought to hide it. During the trial, Michael Cohen, Trump's former lawyer, testified that he paid Daniels on behalf of Trump and that he worked out a reimbursement arrangement with the Trump Organization. Trump was found guilty on all 34 counts of falsifying business records, with no legal retainer agreement in place. Cohen said he submitted monthly $35,000 invoices for expenses totaling $420,000, which included the $130,000 payment to Daniels. These invoices, checks, and other financial documents were among the evidence that prosecutors claim proved Trump had falsified business records in order to cover up the payment. Donald Trump's near certain appeal of his historic conviction on criminal charges in New York is likely to focus on porn star Stormy Daniels' salacious testimony about her alleged sexual encounter with the former U.S. president, as well as the novel legal theory prosecutors used in the case. But he faces long odds, legal experts said. It is unlikely any appeal would be resolved before the November 5th election, in which Trump, the Republican presidential candidate, is set to square off against Democratic President Joe Biden. 12 jurors have found Trump guilty of falsifying records to cover up his former lawyer Michael Cohen's $130,000 payment to Daniels for her silence before the 2016 election about the alleged 2006 encounter. To prevail on appeal, Trump must demonstrate that Justice Juan Merchan made significant errors in overseeing the trial. Trump pleaded not guilty and denies having had sex with Daniels, whose given name is Stephanie Clifford. He argues the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, led by Democrat Alvin Bragg, brought on the charges in order to derail his campaign. On appeal, Trump's lawyers will likely argue that Daniels' testimony about their encounter in a Lake Tahoe hotel room went into too much detail for a case that hinged on whether Trump falsified documents rather than on whether he had sex with Daniels. On May 7th, Daniels testified that she hit Trump's backside with a rolled up magazine. He did not use a condom, and even mentioned the position she said they were in. She said she blacked out and did not remember how her clothes came off, though she said she did not consume alcohol or drugs and never said no to Trump during the encounter. Besides Daniels' testimony, the defense could argue on appeal that Merchan had a conflict of interest because of his daughter's work for a political consulting firm with Democratic clients, that a gag order restricting Trump's public statements about witnesses violated his rights, and that it was unfair to hold the trial in heavily Democratic Manhattan. Trump's lawyers previously raised those issues in a flurry of unsuccessful last-minute bids to delay the case before the trial started on April 15th. The defense is also likely to argue the charges themselves were legally improper. Some legal experts have argued that the case could be vulnerable to such a challenge because the prosecution's legal theory has not been tested on appeal. Falsifying business records on its own is a misdemeanor in New York, but it is elevated to a felony if done to further or conceal another crime. In this case, prosecutors say Trump was seeking to cover up a conspiracy he and Cohen were involved in to promote a candidacy for public office through unlawful means, a misdemeanor in New York State. They say the hush money payment to Daniels was effectively a campaign contribution that exceeded the $2,700 limit on political donations in 2016. Cohen pleaded guilty in 2018 to violating federal campaign finance law with the Daniels payment and went to prison. Trump was not charged in federal court. In urging Merchan to dismiss the case last year, Trump's lawyers argued that New York state law did not apply to federal elections. Bragg's office argued the state law applies to federal elections. But Boston University law professor Jed Shugerman said the law was ambiguous on that point, potentially posing an issue on appeal. In the wake of the evidence presented, the defense team for Trump is poised to challenge the legal theory used by the prosecutors. They are likely to argue that the testimony by Stormy Daniels was unnecessarily detailed for a case that hinged on the falsification of documents, not on the alleged sexual encounter. The defense also aims to highlight potential conflicts of interest and argue that the trial's location in Democratic-leaning Manhattan was prejudiced. The charges leveled against Trump are also likely to be contested as legally improper. The base of the argument lies in whether New York state law applies to federal elections, a point where legal experts have differing opinions. As the appeal process continues, it remains to be seen how these arguments will unfold and what impact they will have on the electoral landscape. If you like this type of content, please like, subscribe, and follow for more insights into intriguing legal battles and their implications. Stay tuned for the next episode, where we'll delve deeper into the appeal process and its potential outcomes.